I'm Tom.
And I'm Molly.
Welcome to Friends at Gameology, hosted by friends at Gameology.com.
Reviews for science.
In 7 minutes or less. Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Or as anyone else that doesn't have a terrible accent would probably say, Ludwig. But I have a terrible accent. So Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
I thought you were going to say, who doesn't have a terrible accent? Or I don't know what you're going to say after that, but I thought you were going to say, Between Two Castles. And then, I don't know, you said Ludwig, and it was the whole thing.
So, with this is a tile-laying drafting game. It has a cooperative element, but it's not a cooperative game.
It's team-based.
Yeah, but your team doesn't win. It's competitive. You compete to win by getting the highest score, but you are building your castle with your two neighbors. And so I've got my hand of tiles, and I choose two of them, and I pass the rest to be drafted later by my neighbor. And then when we all have our tiles, we reveal them, and I place one in the castle on my left and the castle on my right. And in so doing, they will score based on their positions. And there are 13 ways to score. You get a score sheet that keeps track of them all. Several rooms, the throne room scores. There's some cards, just a lot of bonuses, a lot of things to score. And after 2 rounds of drafting, one way and then the next, the game is over. Tally up your score. Whoever has highest wins. Let's talk simplicity versus complexity.
This game is pretty simple. There are a lot of symbols on the cards that mean different things and that are referenced by different cards. So you just got to know there's a symbol here that's got some swords on it. And you just need to know that is unimportant unless referenced by another card, because down here they have the points. And so how you get points will reference either of these symbols in the top corners. So, and I say a lot of symbols. I just mentioned 3 different ones. But then there's a whole card, a bunch of different symbols of how you score. And so they're just symbols. So it's not complicated. You just have to get used to the symbols. And luckily we have a nice cheat sheet to be able to understand a lot of those symbols. Otherwise they're just how to score points. And so once you get used to that after 1 round of drafting, maybe 2, you'll get it. So I think I say it's a pretty simple baseline game.
It is a light game, approaching medium weight. There are some things where when I explain the game to people, I always flip through the rule book to make sure I didn't miss anything obvious, and there's always 1 or 2 things I didn't remember to say. Like when you're building your castles, if you build, you can build upward, you can keep going up and higher, but you can't go over unless there's something beneath it. So there's rules like that you just need to know, and they're not difficult, and they're not super complex, there's just a lot of them. Scoring is also a little complex, but they do have on each tile the example of how they score, and the cheat sheet will also delineate those things. So it is simple, but not overly so. Luck versus strategy.
Wow. So there's a lot of strategy in this game. I found myself in this game particularly thinking about what I was taking and what I was passing. Because if I'm passing my cards this way to Tom, and I know we need these things, I take one of them, and I'm like, well, I hope he takes the other. I don't say, we definitely need this thing that's going to be in your next hand, right? But I definitely have that in mind. So that strategy of this team-based game. And then the next round, when I go this way, I do the same thing. And so there is strategy, and that's not the only strategy. There are multiple ways to score. You score based on these tiles themselves. You score based on the bonuses you can get here by completing a certain number of a different kind of tile, like 3 living rooms get you something and 5 gets you even more, or something different. And so I think there's a lot of strategy. It is drafting. You are picking up some random tiles, so there's luck in that. But I think the scoring and how much and how many different ways you can score mitigates a lot of that luck.
Because of the many choices you can make in this game, I think that has a wonderful balance of luck and strategy, because there are just so many things you can do and you can choose, and it's not just the tiles in your hand that you choose from, but where to place them or which bonuses to pursue, because every tile could potentially get you closer to a bonus or to a second bonus, and then deciding which of those bonus tiles you'll take, and if they'll help you one more than the other, and which city you're going to choose. There's just so much to choose, so many decisions in this game that even though there's a healthy amount of luck, I think it's a very finely balanced, well-tuned delineation.
You said city related to between two cities. That's funny. Yeah.
So fun versus boring. I dig this game. This game is super fun. In part because of the constant parsing and reparsing, which I liked a lot in Fantasy Realms. If you've watched that review, there's so much where I'm looking I'm looking at the tiles. I'm like, okay, if I do that one, but I still have to parse it for this castle and then this castle and then this tile, and then I'd get that bonus. And because we're all playing at the same time, everyone's doing that, so I'm not slowing anyone down. And I can just make those calculations, and there's something about it. I just really enjoy that in a game, especially when it's not slowing everyone down waiting on you. We're all playing at the same time. You get this big old castle. There's a lot of moving pieces. You're like, okay, what is this
so
gonna
many
be?
ways to score. Like, this one tile gets me 5 points. This one tile can give me 2. And you don't want to spend too long, because then that game, to me, becomes too much. But yeah, I enjoy the parsing of the different ways to score points. I guess that would be the most complicated part of this game, is how you're going to score. Each turn, you're going to, and like Tom said, you change your strategy. Like in Fantasy Realms, you change your strategy. And this one, I'm like, well, I thought I was going for these, but now my hand is full of these things, and so I can score this way. So yeah, I really enjoy this game. It is more complicated than Between Two Cities.
I'm going to go with, on the Board Game Geek rating, 10 out of 10.
9 out of 10 for me.
All right. Big thanks to Jamie for sending this to us for review. Between Two Castles and Mad King Ludwig.
We've presented the evidence.
You be the judge.